Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets. We're right back at you. Right after the first show, we're back with a second show. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Dylan, over at Net Press. He's got an interesting article up on his Substack. Give your Substack a little plug. How do people find it? How do they sub to it? Give it a little plug, Dylan, because it's a good article.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just called Netspress. So feel free to head on over there, look me up. It's always me with my cartoon logo. Um, but yeah, feel free to sub over there. I try and do as many, post game recaps as I can. A lot of it's primarily based on trade rumors, performance based, things like that. So if you want to keep up to date with the Nets, feel free to follow me over there or on Instagram at
Yeah,
Netspress.
it's good content. Dylan puts a lot of work into it. He gives it good content. It's not fluff. It's not slop. It's good. So don't be gay. Actually, go out there and check it out. Like the Nets don't get a lot of publicity. They don't get a lot of coverage for a litany of reasons. But we have an organic thing going on here, and Dylan does a good job. So check out his Substack. Puts a lot of work into it, and it gives us good net content year round. All right, Dylan. Let's get into it. We're coming off a streak. We went 7-4, I believe, in December. And now we look terrible again the last two games.
It's like the Rob Schneider meme. Hey, we suck again. Listen, it's needed.
I want to get into that because me and you don't always see eye to eye on the tank. Although this year I think we see eye to eye a lot more than last year. Let's start with Michael Porter. I want Michael Porter to make the All-Star game for a number of reasons, and then I do want to sit him. So when do we get to the point where we sit Michael Porter with injuries? Is it load management? Because look, Michael Porter Jr. has been entertaining in the offseason. He's been a good net. He hasn't complained once. He's done exactly what he's asked. He's been the antithesis of Cam Thomas, right? Like he's just been good. So I want him to get the notoriety. I want him to make the All-Star game. But at the same time, he's going to have to get injured at some point. What's the plan? Yeah. Assuming we don't trade him, and we'll work on the other assumptions that we do trade him in a little bit, but working on the assumption that we don't trade him, that he's here for this year and next. What's the plan with him, right? Because we're not going to keep playing him 35 minutes a game, I don't think. What's the plan what should be the plan for Michael Porter Jr. from here on out, the rest of this season, assuming he stays here?
I don't know what the exact plan is, but we've seen it time and time again. And specifically, I will continue to bring up this example. Lauri Markkanen with the Utah Jazz over the past 2.5 years. They have figured out ways to sit him and not get the league to, go after him. So if I'm the Nets, I'm trying to find a way to do that with Mike. I don't think that he is worth trading. I think that he is very, very valuable to this team, not only in terms of his overall growth individually, but also for what this team needs moving forward next year when you don't own your own pick. So to me, you've got to figure out a way to keep him unless if an offer is presented that you just can't deny, right? And I've said that time and time again. I understand if he gets traded for a haul, but at the end of the day, I would like to keep him no matter what. And the only way to do that is to find ways to sit him certain games. Like you did it against Washington, which is incredibly smart. I would assume they let him play against Denver because it's a revenge game. But, you've really got to pick your games with him and see which ones he needs to sit out. Like he should not be playing against New Orleans. He should not be playing against Indiana. He should not be playing against the Clippers or the Wizards. So these are the games that you really have to focus in on and find ways to keep him out.
I was watching the Pelicans last night. I was like, God dang, like Zion still got it. But honestly, who has more trade value at this point, Zion or Michael Porter Jr.?
Michael Porter Jr. without a doubt in my mind.
I think so too, right?
Yeah. Without a doubt in my mind.
I was just watching Zion last night. He had like 35. The Pelicans are I know the Pelicans are trash, but the Pelicans are a fun watch. And like he's still as unstoppable and as strong and as quick-footed as he's always been. And it's like this guy just wasted so much talent. Like he really wasted so much talent.
If he was healthy, in all honesty, a Zion Michael Porter Jr. duo would actually be really fun because you get the athleticism and inside bullying of Zion with the floor spacing of Mike. So that would be a really fun duo. It's just you can't trust the health of Zion to actually give you some form of reliable minutes long term throughout a season. So I wouldn't Trust him.
What do you think the trade market for Zion is?
I'd probably say it's just about the same, if not a little bit better than what we got for Kyrie. Like rather than a first and 2 seconds, maybe it's just 2 firsts, but one of them being a swap rather than unprotected.
If I don't have to give you this, if I gave you Denver's 2032 and the Knicks pick next year, would you be interested in that trade?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. That Denver 2032 should not be moved for anything not named a superstar, whether that be Jokic, Giannis, Anthony Davis, or I'm sorry, Anthony Edwards, like Luka. There's nobody that I would move that pick for in this league outside of the top 5 players.
All right. You know how I love Zion. I've been trying to get him here for like 3 years. His trade value is what it is. I don't think it's going to move much in either direction. He plays 40 games a year, if that. And when he wants to, he's dominant as hell. I just don't know what he's the one guy I can't gauge his trade market, right? Like his trade value. I just don't know what it is. I don't know if anyone will there be any takers for him at the deadline. Will anyone want to trade for him?
I don't think he gets moved this year now.
I feel like we say this every year, though. Like we've been saying this for like 3 years. When does he get? Does he get moved? I mean, is he just a Pelican for the foreseeable future?
I think if there was a time for him to get moved, it would probably be sometime after next season. And I'm talking in the off season, just because I think they want to see what they have with Jeremiah Fears. They still have DeJounte Murray, who they're going to probably try and trade and get value for. Like,
yeah, that's what they
can build. They can get like 1 or 2 depth pieces for DeJounte plus maybe a first, and then you're going to look at maybe trying to flip Poole at some point. Maybe you can get a first plus a couple more depth pieces, and then at that point, you've got 5 or 6 guys in depth plus your Jeremiah Fears, your Derek Queen, your Zion, your Trey Murphy, your Herb Jones. Like that's a really stellar lineup. So I think that they need to play it smart and just move off of the 2 contracts that are kind of holding them back, add some depth because their depth is horrible, and then go from there. But they, like I said, they don't own their pick this year. They're not in a good position in terms of draft capital. They more so need to kind of hope that Milwaukee blows it up because they do own some of the Bucks picks. And I think that they're going to be able to rebuild, or I should say retool around Fears, Queen, Zion very easily. So I don't think they're going to give up on it just yet.
It seems like they don't have their pick this year, but they have Queen, right? So it's basically like, okay, I traded my pick next year for Queen this year. Queen's been really good. Like he showed a lot of promise, a lot of upside. So I don't hate the trade as much now because Queen is panning out in the early stages. I don't want to spend too much time on the Pelicans, but they seem to have some pieces in place. If they could trade Zion for 2 first-rounders to get that draft capital back, I think that fits their plans more than just having Zion, no?
Yes and no. I mean, again, it kind of just comes down to what value they can get for Zion right now. I don't think that they're going to get a lot. So to me, you got to make things work with what you got. And right now, you've got 2 top-tier 3-and-D guys in Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. You've got 2 rising potential borderline, if not star caliber draft picks that you just took this year in Fears and Queen. I mean, if you can get Zion 60 games a season, that's a really solid core that you've built that you can now progress and improve on by moving guys like DeJounte and Jordan Poole for depth pieces. Or salary fillers just to be able to open up cap space and go out and sign people at some point. So I think that they've got to stick with the core that they've got right now because they really don't have much maneuvering around not owning their pick this year. Like they're at least lucky enough to where they're getting a swapped pick with, I think, right? Are they getting a swap with Atlanta? They're getting the least favorable out of it between Atlanta and Milwaukee.
Oh, I don't know. The trade they made on draft night was just an unprotected first pick for the rights to take Derek Queen. That was just an unprotected pick. There was no swap involved in that.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Atlanta will receive the more favorable of Milwaukee or New Orleans. Oh, Milwaukee and New Orleans. So yeah, they're getting okay, that makes sense. They do have the 2027 Bucks swap, and then from there they own their own picks from 2028 and onward. So I mean, they have the draft capital to go out and make moves if they're ready to. I think you give Fears and Queen one more year to develop, and see what you can kind of build around them after trading some guys, and then go from there. But I think Zion will be the last piece traded, if anything, not the first.
DeJounte Murray, that's a player I like a lot. I've always liked Murray. He's not been able to stay healthy, unfortunately. What's his value? I mean, he's on a horrible contract because he's hurt all the time. What's his trade value, if anything?
I genuinely think it's a straight first round pick and a salary filler right now.
I mean, when's he projected back?
I don't even know. He blew his Achilles, so I don't know.
Yeah, a year. Yeah. What's left on his contract?
I want to say 2 or 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so yeah, he's got
3 years.
Next year at 32, and then a player option in 27. So he's got 2 more years. She's going to take that player option. He's got 2 more years left on it after this. It's not egregious. It's $30 million a year, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, if he played, it's a good contract. It's a very good contract. It's in 27, 28, it's 17% of the cap. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to figure out a way to stay healthy, but that's the biggest problem. You've got DeJounte, you've got Zion.
All right, I need to bring Leaf in real quick. I'm gonna give Leaf the link real quick. I need to get him in here. He says he's 55% on Zion. I gotta hear this. Can I give him the link?
Wow, Zion, he wants a Duke guy? No way.
I gotta hear this. LBL, Leaf, if you guys want in, link is in the chat. Because I've been alone on Zion Island. Last year was laughable when I said I wanted him. Now he's 55% in. I would make that trade, by the way. The 2032 Denver pick and the 2028 Knicks pick, I would make that.
That's way too valuable for me. I'll give them the 2027 Knicks pick, and I'll give them a swap pick in 2029 with us.
2027 pick, I mean. It's 127 Knicks pick. And what else would you give him?
And our own 2029 swap. I would not give him anything unprotected.
Okay. All right, I could do that.
But realistically, in that deal, you're giving up Nick Claxton. You have to make salaries match.
Right. Okay.
So at that point,
adds value at this point.
At that point, you're giving up probably Nick Claxton and Zaire. Does that match salary?
Well, we can take on some salary. We have plenty of cap to take on salary.
Yeah, that would work. Like Nick Claxton, Zaire, and then let's see, 2027 Knicks unprotected and
player one. 2 ones. We're thinking.
Well, we don't own our 2029, so at that point, you're probably giving up a 2028 swap.
Okay.
But again, I don't even think I would do that.
Leaf, it says he's 55% in on Zion. What's caused the change of heart, my man? Welcome to Zion Island. What's I was on this old one and everyone laughed at me.
Bro, no, the thing is, I'm just like you when it comes to Zion. When he's on the court and when he's motivated, he looks like arguably one of the most dominant players in the league, bro. Like bar none. But when he's not on the court, I'm just focusing on what's the prognosis of his whole back-to-back schedule or whatever it is he got in New Orleans, because I don't know if that same details is going to apply somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So because I'm seeing like Derek Queen and Jeremiah, they got Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears basically on run time, and they like on job time and everything. So it seems like they're in on that. What it seems like we're trying to be in on is trying to at least get a Barry Bonds type of home run type of hit. Because the thing is, bro, like I'm looking at our rookies. I don't think none of these dudes is legitimate starters right now. I really don't. I really, really don't. I don't think I think some of these dudes are like part-time starters.
Well, let me. Drake Powell to me is close. Like Drake Powell to me is a.
I think
rotational
Drake
player
Powell
on a
has
good
the.
team.
I think Drake Powell physically has the tools for it. I even think Nolan Trayor has an unteachable skill for it. But I just don't think from 1 through 5 they are legitimate starters on a team that you're gonna see one day, and they're gonna be like, oh, yo, this is a good young team, man. They're coming up, and maybe not. But what I need people to understand is that MPJ, that Sean Marks is basically told the coaching staff, i.e. Jordy Fernandez, that guess what? You're gonna have to figure out how to win once I restructure this roster, because this you're not MPJ is not playing, Claxton is not playing, and Cam Thomas is not playing, and that's what happened last night. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think for the tanker section of our fan base, this is a happy moment for these guys, man, because we lost to the Wizards by 20, which moves the Wizards up a win, and if I'm not mistaken, the Kings in
I was
what's
gonna
another?
pull up the Tankers. Let me pull them up real quick for you. Go ahead, continue. The
Yeah,
Tankers on
the Kings and some other dookie ass team is probably done moved up, and that's gonna put us in a certain spot. I mean, these quote unquote tanks have to be done strategically, because the NBA is basically the NBA is watching, and they paying attention to who's tanking and who's not doing this and who's not doing that. I'm under the impression that no matter what we do as far as a tank, um, even if we finish at the very bottom of the league, we're getting the highest pick that we're getting is number 5, because the NBA doesn't trust this dumbass front office that cost them money 3 years ago when they traded Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the middle of the season, and then the year before that they traded James Harden in the middle of the season. So
Let me
I don't
let me
believe.
ask you about that. Let me bring this because that's a fair point, Dylan. We all think the NBA lottery is fixed to a degree. He makes a fair point. The Nets were given the golden egg, and they cracked it badly. Does the NBA just not trust the Nets with, say, DeBanza or Peterson, and saying you're not getting him because you don't know how to manage it? Is that a fair point, Dylan?
So you trust him more with the Sacramento Kings or the Washington Wizards
Indiana
Dylan?
Pacers.
or the Dallas? I mean, like, it doesn't make sense. If you're looking at those top 7 teams right there on the board, Brooklyn's the biggest market. So if you want to get more marketability for these young guys coming into the league, then you're looking at Brooklyn. But it really just depends on the position of the pick. To me, as of right now, I think if you're the 4th worst team in the league, you actually have the best chance of staying within top 4. If you look at the last couple of years.
Here the take-on standings currently, it's crowded at the top.
I think it sounds good in theory, everything that Dylan is saying, bro. But and it's probably done happen in the last couple of years. But in the case of us, I look at it in the standpoint is that our front office, as it stands right now, this is the same front office that traded 3 top 70 future Hall of Famers and 3 top 50 top 75 players within 2 seasons, in the middle of the season.
within a year, within 12 months.
Yeah. So what was lost in that? What was lost in that was TV game revenue, TV game money. We still had TV games, and all of those things in those 2 years. And basically, we just told the NBA, hey man, there's too much politics and there's too much stuff out here, this, that, and the third. And we didn't give them a legitimate excuse. Everybody thought we kissed and made up with the NBA front office because of the China games. I don't think we did. I'll be honest with you, bro. I think the NBA is still pissed off that we cost them money.
They didn't help us out last year. I mean,
and they gave and for that they gave us a number 8 pick, which I've told Nets fans, which is the 8th pick is historically mid. I don't care what name you pick out of that hat. It's historically mid goddamn pick.
let me get
got-
into this. Right? So here's currently the standings. Right, Indiana has the worst record. They're doing a hell of a tank job at 1. New Orleans is at 2.
Fucking
They're
pathetic.
close to Atlanta, so they're going to look to win. I mean, I don't know how much longer they can keep losing like this. Sacramento is at 3. Washington is at 4. Brooklyn is at 5. Charlotte is at 6. Dallas is at 7. Utah is at 8. Clippers are at 9. Who are they giving? Let's say there's 4 big prizes in this draft. Where do you think those prizes are going? Those teams are packed in pretty close.
I don't know.
It's
I
probably
don't
going
think
to
it
go
depends.
to
It depends,
a
but-
play-in team like it went for the last 2 years.
I think we're leaving out the fact that Brooklyn came in 6th last year, and since they changed the rules, every team is not just Brooklyn. Every team that has come in 6th for the past few years since they changed the odds has never
Gotten in the top 5.
never have ever been in the top 3. It has
Right.
never happened. It's not
Right.
just Brooklyn. It's every team that has been in the top 6. For the Knicks, for the Knicks stupidness, the only credit that I give them, at least they landed in the top 3 when they was tanking and did what the fuck they were supposed to do. It didn't land in Zion, but shit, they at least tried and got there. At least they
landed
in the
on
top
RJ
3.
Barrett and
They
traded
use
him.
RJ, who is the best player they've drafted since Mark
Right,
Jackson.
and that year, RJ was a good pick because he was one of the best players in that draft. So, yeah, in hindsight, yeah, it's bad, but that year, nobody was wrong at them for taking RJ. So they did what they were supposed to do. In the NBA, they give a big franchise a top 3
I'm pretty
pick.
sure somebody better than RJ in that draft outside of Zion and Ja Morant.
It could be, but the thing I'm saying is,
Yeah, but
you're the
he's
6th
saying
best
that-
odds.
Lee,
It has
Lee,
never landed
hang
for.
on.
It has
Lee,
never
if
been
you're
good
a
for
Knicks
any
fan,
team.
and the history of your draft is Frank the African. It's Kevin Knox. It's like and you get RJ. That's a home run for you. Like, look at the Knicks draft history.
It's more like a base hit, bro. Like I'm
That's
not
a
like.
home run.
I call it a base hit because it led to a trade that led to them being where they are today. Realistically, the Knicks were never serious about no draft picks. They just led on. And Julius Randle doesn't get enough credit for getting that franchise back on track to this day.
True.
He doesn't, bro. Like he does not. Everybody wants to piggyback on Jalen Bumpson, bro. Like because he's averaging 29 and 7, and the Knicks is the top of the East and top 3 in the East, and they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals last year when they was hollering SMDs to everybody in Indiana. Blah blah blah. Everybody knows.
Jalen Bumpson. Jalen Brunson's one of the best postseason players in basketball. He's one of the best. We're not going to do it. We're not going to hate on the Knicks right now.
I'm going to hate on it. They're the Knicks, bro. Like I don't, bro. That's what we do. We're Nets fans. We don't like the Knicks. What we do?
We're not hating on the Knicks.
We don't give a damn about the Knicks. Why do we care?
I don't give a damn about the Knicks. So why are we hating on them?
Because we can.
No, because you sound like a Spurn lover. You sound like a Spurn lover. And when you're talking about, they're paying the Nets back for not doing this and that, you sound like you got battered spouse syndrome or something. like your Nets have been, like you've been through it so much that you just
okay. LB, can you tell me why we gotta? Can you tell me why is it, bro, that we're projected to be where we are at number 8 pick probably again, as opposed to being top 5?
I can answer that very quickly.
Tell me another reason other than the reason that I gave you.
I can tell you a reason very quickly. We know, because LM could back me up on this. If you finish with one of the worst records, you're guaranteed to be in the top part, right? Isn't that true? Isn't there like the odds are so much? So like if we finish with one of the worst 3 records and stuff, we probably not going to pick any worse than 5th, right?
We coming off a year where the Spurs and Dallas got number 1 and number 2, bro.
But LBO, the thing is, if we finish, because we're in the 5th spot right now, right? If Charlotte wins tonight, that means they're at 12, which means there'll be 2 games ahead of us. So technically, that 5th spot should be locked by us. But realistically, if you finish in the bottom 5, and let's say May, we finish maybe pick 4. Maybe you don't get top 3, you get 4. That right there is that's the proven point.
But LM, what I'm saying is, we're not even freaking winning at losing. I'm saying, why are we not finishing with the top three worst picks? I mean, with
But
one of the
we're
top. I'm
not
sorry,
far though.
top three. No, I'm
Yeah, hang on.
saying
We're not that
because
far.
Hang on,
because
hang on,
technically they got tanking
hang on.
rules.
Y'all
Yeah,
really
hang
think
on.
we're going to get
You
more
guys
wins
make
in
it
New
sound like
Orleans?
it's easy just to finish with the worst record in the NBA. Look what Indiana is doing. Realistically, how are you going to lose more games than Indiana? Indiana is like one step away from like shooting at the wrong basket. Like they're trying to.
We're doing
lose
better
so
this year than we did last year in the tank.
and let me say this. Since you mentioned Indiana and them losing like this, isn't their coach likely to be close to a Hall of Fame guy?
I would say he's a Hall of Famer. I would say he
Yeah.
is.
So this is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So he can lose. He can lose. He could afford to lose games, but Jordy can't.
But look, so
No,
let
Jordy
me
can't afford to
hang
lose
on,
games because he got a dumbass front office.
let me address that in two ways. Let me address that in two ways, LBL. Yes, he can keep his job if they go 6 and what they got 6. So if they go 6-76, his job is safe. Okay, he's not going to get fired. He's Rick Carlisle. And second, the NBA needs to investigate it because no Rick Carlisle team can be this bad. If you have
That's
Rick
what I'm
Carlisle,
saying. I agree.
the NBA needs to investigate that.
But they've had injuries up the board, man. Like they've had injuries like up the board. Like they're just getting some of their players back.
Understood. Understood.
They could. I'm not saying you're wrong. Like they should be. Did Halliburton and they lost Miles Turner, but Halliburton being out, I didn't think it would affect them this much. Like I at least thought there'll be a playing team, but they had a lot of
Listen.
injuries to start the year.
Whether hold up, whether it does or it does not, bro. There's certain rules against certain teams to tank, and there's certain rules against teams that cannot tank, bro. We know that now, bro, because of what we're seeing, bro. Like it's just that simple, bro. How else did the Philadelphia 76ers get fined and get reported last year, and they still got a top 3 pick? The Utah Jazz was under investigation last year, and they still got a top 5 pick, bro. They do it for whoever they want to do it for.
No, you know what? But you know what that means?
They lost.
Right.
I'm saying we could have finished ahead of Philly in terms of draft, but we were stupid and we didn't.
And you know where Philly and you know what spot Philly was in when they got that 3rd pick? The same spot that we are in right now.
The NBA clearly loves Philly. They give Philly a top 5 pick every time they're in the lottery. The NBA clearly wants Philly to be good. That you can't say that for us. Like it's not.
But you can.
But
say
Gary,
that.
but can you say that because they're in this?
But you can say
do you think they're giving Philly a top spot if they're
The
Sixers? Yes.
The Sixers.
If they're the 3rd best team in
the Lakers and the Lakers and the Celtics.
Philly is getting a top pick.
If the Sixers and Lakers and the Celtics are bad, bro, they are guaranteed getting top 5 picks before we do, bar none. There's nothing else to discuss.
John,
by the way, for everybody that said Boston was tanking, them niggas is clearly not.
Cooper Flag, right? Like those were gifts. There's no lottery that goes on in the back. I think that's childish to think that. Like there's no lottery. The NBA puts you where they want to put you. Like I can't see any other way.
I don't agree with that.
So
I can agree with Dallas. I don't agree with Dallas. We all know what that was.
Abnormality after another, right? Dallas and San Antonio had a 0.1% chance of drafting 1 or 2, and that hit. Right after Dallas traded Luka in a trade that made no sense to anyone. Just ironically, just out of the clear blue, they got
we see it.
Gary, I agree with you in San Antonio, but I can't agree with you in Dallas. San Antonio was bullshit, but I can't agree on Dallas. We know what that was.
I can agree. Like the Dallas thing, we already see what it was, right? It was 3 parts to it, right? Out of the blue, trade him to the Lakers, right? We're gonna reward you with the Cooper Flag pick. And then why was it so important that Luka get to Dallas? Because they needed another valuation for the Laker franchise. Because remember, that sale didn't happen until after they got Luka. A LA Lakers team with a 26 or 7-year-old Luca looks a lot better than a 40-year-old LeBron James.
LeBron, who's going to retire at the end of the year, by the way.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So we see that was like a league saving thing, right? Like they said, okay, we got to make this franchise. We got to make the Lakers. And remember, Lakers, they were sold for like, what was it, 10 billion or something like that? It was some astronomical amount. So I understand that, like where they might say, okay, we're gonna reward you with one of these. But I'm saying if we either have to yes, so we got to poop or get off the pop. Meaning, if we're gonna say that this thing is fixed, let's go all in and say it's fixed, or if it's not.
No, I've been saying it's fixed for years. I don't think LeBron to Cleveland, Derrick Rose to Chicago, Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. I don't think any of these things are.
I think it's fixed for. I think it's fixed for certain years.
I don't even think there is a look. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this. If you were to have a lottery, why would you have it in some convoluted way that no one understands, that makes no sense to any rational person, and then not show it live on TV, do it in the back room and show the results? If it was straight up, who does that?
It used to be like that, right, Gary? It used to be that you could see it live. They rolled the thing, and then you saw it, or you saw the ping pong balls go, right? So It used to be like that, and I've been suspicious of that ever since myself. But what I'm saying is, we have to see, well, does it fit our narrative to say when it doesn't work for us, it's rigged, or when
I've always said it's rigged. I just thought they were going to rig it for question. I've never thought
we're talking about the same, but LBL, we're talking about the same league that gave Detroit a #1 pick. Like, we got to be serious here. Detroit was a horrible organization. We had no idea what Cade was going to do for that organization. I'm just saying.
I want to get this back to the Nets. I want to get this back to Dylan's article. We were talking about Michael Porter Jr. Me and Dylan talked about it. Do you guys? I'll start with Dylan. Me and Dylan kind of agree on this, but I'll start with Dylan. Ideally, do you want to trade Michael Porter Jr. or do you want him here moving forward and potentially re-signing him? Dylan, I'll start with you and I'll go around.
I want him here, but I've said it before. I understand if he's traded. Do I want him traded? No. Do I want him here long term? Yes. Do I feel that he can be a genuine piece to this organization for the next 5 years? Yes. That being said, if a team comes in, let's just say Golden State, for example, and they offer their first-round pick this year and they offer a pick in the 2030s, you have to think about it. Same thing with the Clippers. If they come in and offer multiple picks in the 2030s, you have to think about it. Same thing for Milwaukee. If they offer multiple picks in the 2030s, you have to think about it. When you look at how the league is currently shaping out, the Clippers are going to be one of the worst teams in basketball for probably about a 5-year span within the next 4 years because of their age. Same thing with Milwaukee. If they lose Giannis, they're going to be one of the worst teams in basketball for probably about half a decade. Same thing with the Warriors once Steph and Butler are gone. So there's multiple teams that I would keep an eye on that, due to their age of their current rosters, there are some picks that will be extremely valuable. Denver's 2032 is one of them, and we already have that. Now, if you factor in, adding potentially one or two more in the 2030s from the teams that I had mentioned, you're looking at the most valuable draft capital to begin the 2030s in Brooklyn. Very similar to what OKC has done over the past decade. So, I don't want to see him traded, but if there's an offer that's presented where you're getting 2 or 3 first-round picks, 2 of which are in the 2030s, again, if it's Golden State and they're offering you their pick this year and 1 or 2 picks in the 2030s, you have to think about it.
I agree. To me, the price is 3 first-round picks. That's the price for Michael Porter Jr. If you don't offer 3 first-round picks, I want to keep him too. So I'm with Dylan, hook, line, and sink on that. LM, let me get to you. What do you want to do with Porter? Is there a haul that he's worth, or do you want to keep him? Do you want to trade him to whatever the highest bidder is? What's your thoughts on the future of Michael Porter Jr.?
I mean, I think I'm with the majority of you guys. If there is a good deal for him, you did not understand. If it's, I don't know about 3, but if you can get 2 first rounders from him and a promising young player, then yeah, I'll consider it. especially in the early years of 2030, or another pick this year or 2027. Especially since we don't have our pick for 2027 next year. I would look at that. But if there's no,
let me give you a hypothetical. What if San Antonio said Devin Vassell and then 2 first rounders?
Vassell's contract to me would be the problem because it
I
would
would
match
have to-
that contract is crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Do that.
I wouldn't do it. Now
I also
Dylan
don't
Harper,
think San Antonio.
yeah,
I
Dylan
was gonna say, I
Harper,
also
yes,
don't
but-
think San Antonio is going to be interested though. We've seen the
Yeah.
landscape of what Porter Jr.'s teams are going to be, if there is one that's going to trade for him. Golden State,
All right.
the Clippers, Milwaukee, Detroit, right? Chicago maybe as a dark horse, but the first 3 teams that I mentioned are the 3 teams that I would work with. Detroit, the only way that I work with them is if I'm getting 2 picks in the 2030s plus Ron Holland. So
Agreed.
it really just depends on what the offers are. But no, I think 3 first-round picks is mandatory. I don't care how many back surgeries he's had. It doesn't mean anything when he's played over 60 games in 4 straight seasons. He's had a season where he played 81 games. The excuse of injury history needs to go away. It's pathetic. He's had 4 healthy seasons. I can't stand the stupidity. I understand that the back surgeries are something that a lot of Mets fans are scarred over because of Ben Simmons, but not everybody also bitches out on the game of basketball the way that Ben Simmons did. So
Ooh, shots fired.
I definitely do think we could do with a. I wouldn't take Detroit's 2026 because that's probably going to be around the 29 range. So I feel like that would be useless. But if you can get Golden State's 2026 or
This
I
is
would
what
I would
I'm.
like that. That
Let
would
me
be
get
awesome.
LBL. Get
I was
LBL. Give
going to
me
say,
a pick.
Gary, if you want,
But this is what
pull up the article and show
Yeah, I'm
the
gonna-
trades because
I was
I'll
trying
break
to
them down.
segue into that. Yeah, let me get that pulled
All
up.
right, but this is what I'm saying. When you're like a really good GM, I mean, okay, we don't have that, but when you're a really good GM, some of these teams find a way to get a top, like a top 10 lottery pick, even if they don't have it. So, like, say the teams that Dylan says still want Michael Porter, like Detroit or the Spurs or whoever. You make them to do the work to trade with whatever other teams so that they can guarantee that you're going to have a top 10 pick, because I'm saying there's only 30 2026 picks, right? There's only 30 of them. We have our own, right? So, but there has to be some way that we can get our hands on one of the top 3, one of the top third of those picks, get a lottery pick. There has to be, because if you really want Michael Porter Jr. and if you really want him and you want to win, then you go ahead and you pay the price for it. That's what I'm saying. We can't. I don't think it's 3 draft picks. I mean, I understand they lose value sometimes if they're so far ahead that nobody cares, right? Like in the, it's saying 10 years from now. But what I'm saying is, I think that you have to try to get is much. He doesn't fit our timeline, so I want to trade him. He doesn't fit our timeline. He's not old. He's
I don't
27.
agree with you. I think he fits our timeline perfectly. I think he's the
Yeah,
veteran amongst the young players.
Let
He's
me
not
let me
old.
jump in here for a second because again, the whole timeline issue is very frustrating when and I'm not saying that you don't know the timeline, but clearly when you don't own your pick next season and you trade a premium for your 2 picks years prior, you're clearly putting yourself in a position to spend big and build a roster that is ready to be semi-competitive for the year that you don't have your pick, right? So Michael Porter
Agreed.
Jr. does fit the timeline. Michael Porter Jr. is 27. So to say this comment here, to say that 27 is somehow old, is ridiculous. Nobody's saying that he's supposed to be an SGA or a Giannis or that he is supposed to lead this team to an Eastern Conference Finals. But the fact that he is 27 and that he can be a primary second option, where he can give you 23 to 25 a game as your second option, next to an Anthony Edwards or a Giannis, whoever it may be at some point down the line, that's what you're working for. You don't trade that away for chump change. 3 first-round picks is mandatory, or it's 2 first-round picks and a young player. If you
Dylan,
don't match that, then you don't get
You're
it. It's very
assuming
simple.
Anthony Edwards or Giannis if like we don't get a top pick, right?
If we don't get a top pick this year, then yes, I do think that the Nets start actively searching for that number one option star. Because at this point, you would have drafted potentially your third or fourth option in Yegor. You'd have Michael Porter Jr. as your second option, right? You would potentially be building some depth pieces with Nick Claxton, depending on if you trade him. You know, it depends on what the moves are that are made. But this team is not going to be a bottom five team next year. They're not going to allow it because they don't own that pick. You saw it the year that they had Mikal, that they tried not to bottom out. It just so happened that that pick that was what were we projected that year, 9 or 10, and it bumped up to 3 for Houston.
Yep, I think it was around 9 or 10.
So point being is they're not going to sit here and be a bottom tier team in the league. They're going to try and be as good as possible. The Nets have a good amount of cap space still. They have a shit ton of draft capital. They clearly are a marketable organization that numerous players have looked into in the past couple of years. Most recently, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler. Like, there's guys who still want to come here. So when the time comes for that guy to be here, you go for him. And I think that could be midway through next year or the following offseason. But point being is that you don't just trade a player because age-wise he doesn't fit your timeline. He's 27. He's at the peak of his career. He's had 4 straight healthy seasons. He's taken an all-star leap, and he's on a $40 million deal. Most guys that are putting up his production right now are making 50. So you keep that unless if an offer is presented. I don't care what you think. An all-star player is worth at least a minimum of 3 first-round picks. He has no off-court issues outside of some things that he has said on podcasts, which, again, that's just because, again, I don't want to bring in, like, politics and shit, but the NBA is very left-leaning. Just because he's not full-blown on the left side doesn't mean that he's saying something wrong. He just has no filter. Guys around the league have that. Many people around the world have no filter, including myself. So to sit here and say that he's an off-court issue is bullshit. To say that he's an injury history player is bullshit. He's had 4 straight healthy seasons. There's absolutely no reason to trade him unless if the price is matched, right? We have a price,
and I guess we have to agree on what the price is, right? We have to agree.
So 2 first-round picks and a young player like Ron Holland, or 3 first-round picks.
I think that's too much.
Let's get into Dylan's article, and we can say yay, nay, good, not good, too much, too little, just right. Let's get into it. All right, we've got, I think, 4 or 5 offers here. Let's get into the first one. We'll just go around. So the first one would be the Nets get Kuminga, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, a 2026 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2031 unprotected pick. So it's 2 unprotected in 26 and 31. Hield, a salary dump. Moody, I don't think that highly of Moody. And then Kuminga would be the piece. To me, this is a fair trade. I would not accept this trade because I don't really value Kuminga with the stack of guards that we have. But it's certainly a fair trade. And the Warriors would get Porter Jr. and Haywood Highsmith.
If you read below, I do mention that I don't think the Nets would take that deal simply because it's already been mentioned that the Nets don't really have interest in Jonathan Kuminga. So this would have to be expanded into a 3-team deal.
Yeah.
I have proposed Sacramento as a team to take on Kuminga and Cam Thomas in a 3-team deal with Golden State. So this is more so all the trades that are offered here are 1-for-1s. They're not 3-team deals. I have proposed 3-team deals in the past, but trying to make them as realistic as possible.
If this deal did happen, I wouldn't be.
Would you make it? GMLM, would you make this trade?
Kuminga obviously is the appealing factor here, but realistically, I wouldn't exactly say no. I probably would. Obviously, Kuminga with the guard play, I think you can slide Kuminga to the 3. I think you can slide Kuminga to the 3. You still, I mean, I would put Drake Powell at the 2. Yegor at the 1. I think it could work. To me, the prized possession here is that 2026 first-round pick.
To me, it's the 2031 unprotected first-round pick.
In the 2031, right? But if I like Moody is a pretty good player. Buddy Hield obviously will be a salary dump, but You get 2 young players back. I mean, maybe Kaminga comes over here and changes
What
his
do you do with
attitude, and he balls
what
out.
do you do
You
with
know?
Buddy Hield? Is he expiring?
No, he's on a 3 year
Nah,
deal.
he's on a
Moody's on
3-year
a
deal.
3 year deal. To
Wow,
me,
I
to me, the only way
wouldn't
that I
do
would
it.
make the deal, to me, the only way that I would make the deal is if you expand it into a 3-team deal, send
Me
Kuminga
too.
to Sacramento, bring Malik Monk to Brooklyn, and then add a first round pick that's lightly protected or a swap
Exactly.
first.
More
Is
Just
more
Malik
Guys,
Monk on
more
the
more draft
guys,
expiring?
capital.
Buddy Hield is making half of what Terrence Mann makes. The contract isn't cost prohibitive. Like it's not a big
it's
deal.
not. No, you'd be able to flip. You'd be able to flip Hield. You'd be able to flip Monk. Moody's the only one that would probably have to raise his value before you can move on from him. But again, at
Yeah.
11.5 million, it's not horrible.
What if you can just get Kaminga and Moody and then get Hield off somewhere else?
They can't do
You
that.
can move Hield. Hield's contract is like $8 million a year. It's not bad. You can move Hield.
And he's
You know,
a former starter in the league. Yeah.
I wouldn't like. It's 5% of the salary cap. I would not. That would not stop me from making the trade, even though he's locked up for 3 more years. It's not a lot of money, and it's
Yeah.
easily
I guess
tradable.
I'm not really impressed with Kaminga or Moody, to be honest. I like the draft picks. That's what I like about this deal. But really, the other guys, I'd still want to eventually move them.
I just think LBO in a
Because if
new environment, he might play better. I mean,
but
you
you know
talking about
what?
him
Look
playing
at
under
this.
Steve Kerr, who doesn't like
Yeah.
him. Like he might play better on no Jordan. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah. Kaminga, you might have a case that it's a Steve Kerr chemistry issue. But the other two, to me, I mean, Moses Moody, we've been hearing his name ever since he was a rookie. And to me, if they were really that good, they would be better than 18 and 18 or whatever they are.
Let me get to
True.
this next one. The Detroit, Tobias Harris, Karis LeVert, anything to bring LeVert back. A 2030 unprotected first round pick, a 2031 unprotected first round pick, and a 32 top 5 protected first round pick for Michael Porter Jr. I'm making this.
You wouldn't put Ivy in this or no?
I'm getting 3 first round picks.
Personally, I would replace LeVert with Holland and then do the 2030 unprotected and a 2032 swap.
Yeah,
But
that's
again,
what I was thinking too.
That's my price point. But no, realistically, I think again, I tried to make the deals as realistic as possible. Is Detroit going to want to move off of Ron Holland right now? Probably not. That's more so just my personal wish. So again, I tried to make the deals as realistic as possible. You would pretty much be owning every eligible pick in the 2030s so far of Detroit's. And realistically, how often do you think Detroit's going to be a team that's good for 8 years? It just
Detroit's a miserable franchise. I mean, I understand they have paid. I can't see that being good for a prolonged period of time. So I would make this trade. I would try to get Holland out of it. I'd try to get Ivy, but if I couldn't, if this was their final offer, I would make this trade.
Those dudes are going to be good for a long time.
It's Detroit. It's Detroit.
I don't think they would get rid of
but-
Holland either.
But you're acting like Chauncey's
part of
Detroit
Nike,
wasn't
and
good
we've
for a
seen-
long time.
Craig's a
Or
part of
like
Nike,
once
and we've seen
Isaiah and
guys
them
from
got
Nike.
good, they were good.
That was Larry Brown. That was 25 years ago. 20 years ago, LBL. That was a long time ago.
No, I know, but I'm saying these things happen. Don't these things happen in cycles and stuff anyway?
Is Larry Brown coming back?
No, what I'm saying is, what about, you had Chuck Daly, right? You had Larry Brown, right?
They were good for a long period of time.
But it really was the talent, wasn't it? Wasn't it a lot have to do with the talent?
Honestly, for building around Cade Cunningham, they're doing a terrible job. They really are. Like,
well, Duran is there too, right?
90% of what you need, and the other 10%, they got Jalen Duran, who they hit a home run on. Shout out.
Yeah.
All right.
So those are the two most.
They got
important
a sort
right?
Thompson too.
They have really good just role players with them, like Asor, Ron Holland, Jaden Ivey. Like they have a good group of young role players, but again, they need a second option scorer. You can't have Duran as your second option scorer come playoff time.
They're not beating the Knicks right now.
Yeah, they
As
need.
constituted.
I
With Michael
think
Porter Jr., they would beat the
Then
Knicks.
again, Gary, you talking about the team last year that pushed the Knicks to 7 or 6.
Yeah.
And they didn't, that was just off.
And they didn't
That
have
wasn't a good
Ivy.
team around Cade either. And they didn't have Ivy. So, I mean, who knows? If they face this year, is the Knicks going to sweep them in the first round? I don't think so.
I tell you, they won't. The Knicks can't beat them if they have MPJ.
And you could argue they might have eliminated them if Tim Hardaway Jr. got that foul call in the corner, which it should have been a foul. So, I mean,
boy.
I don't know.
Just to answer this
tough,
comment
you know.
real quick, if we had to choose between Holland and Ivy, which one do you think would be a better fit for the team? Me personally, I think Holland. I'm also saying that just because I'm scarred by having already an undersized 2 guard that does minimal. So to me, I want the athletic wing that's really solid defensively and has some upside as an offensive player as well. I also think the Nets have a really good amount of guards. So at this
He's
point,
really
if his name isn't
improved this
Darren
year.
Peterson, I don't want him.
And Holland's probably, I mean, both of them being young, Holland's probably more malleable too. You could build
He
him
fits
into
the
whatever kind
young
of player.
core. He fits
Well,
the
it
young core
also-
timeline as well.
It also comes down to, do you want 3 years of, or I should say 2.5 years at that time of Ron Holland on an $8 million deal, or do you want Jaden Ivey for half a season on an expiring deal as an unrestricted free agent where you're going to have to pay him?
I'll
To me, I
take
think
Holland.
Holland's the more justifiable answer there.
He has improved this year as well, like offensively, defensively. Like he's made a huge improvement. So I would love him here. I think he would be a great addition.
Who, Ivy or Holland?
Holland. Yeah.
The
Top 5
Bucks
pick too. So you have a top 5
third
pick on your
deal?
team.
the Bucks trade is interesting to me. The Bucks trade is Kuzma, Portis, and then 2031 and 2032 unprotected. I don't know how I feel. I'm only getting 2 picks, and I'm not.
Well,
getting
remember, you can't trade back-to-back picks per year. So when I say unprotected, it's an unprotected first-round pick swap in 2032.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a swap. Yeah.
Right.
But
Pick
again,
swap.
you're getting 2 guaranteed lottery picks. That's what that is.
Is that enough? And no player. So you're not getting a young player, but you are getting 2 probably top 10 picks.
I was
Is
going to
that
say
enough?
Portis is on a 3-year
It's a
deal.
great
You can
deal
likely
for-
flip him the following year for multiple seconds or whatever it may be.
Milwaukee will be trash in 2030, so I would take it.
Yeah,
I'll take that risk.
Kuzma's on the
I'll
same
take that risk.
years of contract as MPJ is, so he would be a free agent the year that we need him to be in 2027. So this way we can maximize our cap space to be able to afford 2 max contract slots. So to me, out of the 3 deals so far, this is probably the best one.
And
You
then
would
the crazy
Dylan,
thing
you,
is
Dylan,
Giannis
you
will
would make,
still leave.
Dylan, you would make this trade if you were the GM. You'd make
Would
this
I
trade?
personally take it? No. Is it something that I would be upset about if the Nets took it? No.
This is like borderline to me. I don't know how I feel about this one. Like I could see making it and I could see not making it. LBL, your thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, I figured even if Milwaukee makes it, they'll probably, Giannis will probably still leave anyway. So
Yeah.
So, but I, I don't have any care for any of those 2 guys. So the flip-ems are okay. But yeah, the most important thing are the draft picks. And I think, didn't they say that didn't I read somewhere where the things that they're just discussing, the Board of Governors is trying to do away with certain draft protections and stuff?
Yeah,
Especially lottery
it sounds like you're only going to be able to
projections.
do top 4
Okay.
or lottery. Like I don't think you're going to be able to do like top 5, top 8, top 7, things like that.
Yeah, and some of those things that probably won't get decided till the All-Star
Probably
game, right?
2028. No, I don't think those are going to be
Oh.
decided for a while.
Oh, they're not even going to
Because it
do
has-
it. Okay.
Yeah, I think at maybe by the end of next year, but I don't think that would even be implemented into the 2027 draft. I think it would be the 2028 draft that they change up the rules.
Yeah. Wow. What's the next one?
Would have
The
been nice
Bulls-
if they had this conversation years ago.
The Bulls trade: Zach Collins, Patrick Williams, and then a 2026 top 5 protected first, a 2030 unprotected, and a 2031 unprotected swap from Michael Porter Jr.
I look at it as the 2030 is mandatory to take on Pat Williams' contract. The 2026 is mandatory to take on. I'm sorry, the 2026 and the swap in 2031 are mandatory to take Michael Porter Jr. from us.
Shoot,
how I
the way
look at that.
Chicago playing, that pick might be lottery. For them to go to like 5-0 to like where they're at now, that might be around 19, 18 range.
Wow. My bias is going to show now because I've always liked Zach Collins in college. He's just definitely been underwhelming in the NBA, but
Well, he's
I've
also an
always liked his
expiring deal.
game. Yeah.
He's
Realistically, Pat Williams' contract is not good at all. That you wouldn't be able to flip. That's more of like you add that in a deal for a star down the line as a salary filler. But you would
Sure.
have to give
Yeah.
up a shit ton.
The only
It's
thing
like,
is
I
with Zach
think-
Collins coming back, you have. I'm assuming Claxton Dayron is still on the team. Or
Patrick
are they
Williams
trading?
is an interesting one because he showed signs. It's just once he signed the contract, it's like he took the money and ran. You know, like he was.
They was calling him the next Kawhi at one point. Like,
I think they just
You go back 2 years ago, he was shooting the ball exceptionally. Like he was productive. He was a decent player. He got that contract for a reason, and he got the contract 2 years ago, right? And then last year, he's been like non-existent.
but he was
Like,
in that but he was in that wave of those players where they were just overpaying everybody. You know what I mean? Till, this was the first off season. I mean, like season to off season where we saw, hey, they're not just handing out 20, 25 million to anyone. They're not just handing out 40 to anyone. It's like, because back in that time when he got that deal, a lot of guys were getting money that they shouldn't have gotten, where they didn't prove themselves.
he got $90 million and never showed up to work again. I would probably make this trade. You're getting three picks, right? 3 high picks. I would make this trade. I'm in on this trade. I'm probably in on the Milwaukee trade. I'm like 51% in, 49% out on this trade. I'm probably making this trade. I'm getting
the Golden State one. I would make the Detroit one. I would make if you throw Holland in there, and then I would do this one, the Chicago one for sure.
Dylan.
I think as of right now, in terms of the value of picks, Milwaukee's is a bit better long term, but getting a pick this year from Chicago plus future picks, it really just kind of comes down to, will that 2026 pick be in the top 18 this year? And if so, is that worth taking on Pat Williams' contract? But to me right now, I think Milwaukee's is the more valuable just long term in terms of trade chips or in terms of lottery picks.
Assist the Clippers.
You making this trade, LBL? So it's 3
Who
first
else
rounders.
is it? Mm-hmm.
It's Zach Collins, Patrick Williams. So 2 bad salaries. A 2026 top 5 protected, which is so probably another lottery pick this year. That's top 5 protected. A 2030 unprotected and a 2031 unprotected swap. I'm probably making the trade.
Yeah, how long is Patrick's contract?
He's got 2 more years. Yeah, it's 5 years.
I thought it was 3 more years, but I think
it's got 3 more years.
It's got 4 more years on it right now. By the time we get him, it would be 3.5 years.
Well, yeah, I'm saying it's got this year and then 3 more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how much is it per year?
18
million.
on the nose.
It's a flat rate contract, but it is a player option deal as well. So realistically, he would be opting into that because he's not worth another $18 million contract.
Yeah,
we did it.
I could do it. I could do it.
We did a Golden State
because that 2026 appeals to me.
It was Kuminga, Moody. We did a hype. But Addis is asking about a trade to the Warriors. We did a. I want to address that. It was Kuminga, Moody, Healed, a 2026 unprotected first, a 2031 unprotected first, and Michael Porter Jr. and Haywood Heisman. This is a really good trade.
See, you know what makes a guy like Ivy more valuable for Detroit right now? It was the style of play when everybody started pressing. Like this was the first postseason in a long time where teams started pressing and showing ball pressure, like full court ball pressure. So now I think that was what entered the Nets' mind when they're like, oh, well, they have multiple guys that can dribble on OKC and on Indiana. That's why they made it to the finals. So let's just go draft some ball handlers.
I mean, if anything, realistically, just say hypothetically Detroit went out and got Porter Jr. for the exact deal that I mentioned, they could always turn around and flip Ivy in seconds for Malik Monk. You'd have Cade, Malik Monk, MPJ, um, Isaiah Stewart, Duncan Robinson, Asor Thompson,
Yeah,
Jalen
they
Duren. Like
miss
that would be a good team.
they miss
This
the
is the
guy that got in
one.
trouble for gambling, right? They miss him, right?
Yeah.
They miss him coming off the bench and splashing
They,
and stuff.
they don't have. They need something off the bench. And that's why I thought Cam Thomas made a lot of sense to them. For them.
Cam Thomas for Detroit makes a lot of sense. If you can
See, I
somehow
disagree.
flip, I don't know.
Because you hate Cam, that's why.
No, because we broke it down last night. We broke it down last night.
Yeah.
Like realistically, yeah, they don't have a true second option scorer, but they also have 4 or 5 guys averaging 10 plus points, all of them
And
of
it,
which are playing with one another. You add a guy like Cam Thomas who doesn't pass the ball,
It,
who's
it
an
changes
inefficient
all of that.
scorer, yeah, you're going to start seeing decreases in points per game by probably about half of those players, if not almost all of them. So when
Well,
you have
in any of these
continuity that's
options,
working, you don't add somebody that isn't a winner to a team that's winning.
so if, in any of these options, is there an option where you can kind of put CT along MPJ to any
Yeah,
of these
I think
teams?
it would be this Clippers deal right here. You would just have to add Bradley Beal coming to Brooklyn and Cam Thomas going to Los Angeles.
Mm.
Because Bradley
Ooh,
Beal's out
Beal.
for the season, and then after that,
This
he
is
goes
So
to
also
sign a
intriguing
contract.
Bill,
too,
you
though.
don't need the other guys, right? Bill, his
Well,
contract is
Bill's
enough
not playing
for.
anyway, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
but
out for
his
the season.
contract is but his contract is like 10 million more than Porter, right?
No, he got bought out. He's on a $5.9 million deal for 2 years.
Oh, okay. I
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about that.
So, and
Realistically,
I mean, if you get him back next year, and then by the grace of God, if you get a top 5 pick, he might help towards next year where you gotta really win, not championship wise, but be above 500. So,
Let me get to this last pick, and this is the one I really like. This is my favorite pick. This is the one I would make to the Clippers. Collins, Bogdanovich, and then it's 2030 unprotected swap, 2031 unprotected, and a 2032 top 10 protected. Get that 30. Get that top 10 protection changed to like top 5, and I'm good. Like, but this is the one I like. You're getting 2030, 2031, 2032 Clipper picks. I'm making this trade.
Is
I think
Collins
this is the only
what's his
one.
Collins?
He's
Collins,
an
what's his
expiring
He's an
oh,
expiring.
great,
he's an
great.
expiring
expiring
26.5 million, and Bogdanovich
And
is on a
that's the best
2-year.
one.
Yeah, this to
yeah.
me is by far the
If
only
you could
one
put
that I
Cam
wouldn't say
Thomas
no
in
to.
this, I would do this.
It would just be Cam Thomas for Beal. That would be
Yeah.
Maybe,
like that.
yeah,
You would just
yeah.
add that into this. But at that point, if you're getting
And
Cam
what
Thomas and
Gary
I'm
said
taking out
too, make
Beal,
it a top
then I'm
5
making the
protected.
2032 pick top 5 protected instead of top 10.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
there's a generational prospect in 2030, this pick is going to be gold.
But the thing is, if we don't get the 2032 pick, we get their 2033 pick, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would make the trade. I would just. This is the one I would make right here. Here's the one I'm making.
This pick
Wow.
is intriguing. I like this offer too. This offer is intriguing. And MPJ kind of helps them in terms of, I mean, you got Kawhi in his 30s, you got James Harden in his 30s. I mean, at this point, y'all got to try and win something.
Hey, I don't know. LM, you were on Breezy's last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Big Fan Breezy. But yo, I almost caused the uproar yesterday when I said you might want to consider some of our draft picks. You might want to consider some of the guys, some of the 5 we just drafted. You might want to think of them as trade bait too. Like let them play the rest of the year, but there might be someone that is more in love with Yegor than we are, or there might be someone more in love with someone else. Like, and that's the main person I was thinking about when I said that. Boy, did they come after me when they said, "What, you want to trade Yegor?" And I said, "No, I'm just saying." I'm not opposed to dipping back into the 2026 draft by giving them a top 8 2025 guy, and whatever else we have to get. So he could
Yeah,
be an
no,
add-on
I'm
with
gonna
someone
be
else.
honest with you, my man. That may be the biggest flaming hot take I've heard in the last month.
Yeah, it's out
Love you,
there. But
bro.
what I'm saying is
That is a bad
because
one.
we were talking about future roles, right? And to me, the best point guard on our team is Traore. The best two guard on our team is the
Yeah,
kid from
Igor.
North Carolina. And then Danny Wolf is a center to me. So to me, if you solidified those, it's like, well, while we're trying to figure out where Yegor best fits in, if there's somebody that's really enamored by his potential, then hey, maybe we want to look at including him in a deal. And I'm talking about like
No,
draft time deal. I don't mean like during the season.
no,
Yeah. So to me,
not one bit.
and it's happened before. It's happened before. Look, because then they said, "Are you crazy?"
I
And I
think it's
said,
too
and I
early though.
said,
The
and I
only
said, isn't
person
Ricochet on the block now?
yeah, but that's also because that was the worst first round pick since Anthony Bennett. He's the
To be
worst
fair, that
first
whole draft
overall
class
pick.
was horrible, except for probably
Not really,
Castle.
because you have Stephon Castle,
But you
you
do
have
got
Alex Sarr,
Bazelis, yeah. You do
you
got
have
guys.
Khalil Ware, you have Matas Buzelis. Like it's actually a really solid draft class. There's just no guy in it. There's just a bunch
Yeah.
of third options. But to say that Yegor is a guy that you can trade right now is blasphemy. He's the second best floor spacing draft pick this year in terms of shots made. He's shooting 37% from three as a rookie.
Where
That's
do you
really
see
good.
where do you see him playing?
I see him as a point forward. I see him as a Josh Giddey, Franz Wagner mix. He's got the goofiness and very minimal dribbling aspect of Giddey with the IQ of Giddey, but he's also got the floor spacing ability of Franz. That's easily a third or fourth
Yeah.
option. I mean, if you really look at him, if he can just get his like mid-range and finishing ability better, and if he can learn to draw fouls a bit better, he's easily a 20-point per game scorer. He's averaging 10 just off of threes right now.
Oh, but
I
yo, what
don't.
I was saying last night
Mhm.
was that not necessarily trade him, but sometimes positions and how people start may differ. Like we used to, in the example I brought up was at one point in time on San Antonio, Keldon Johnson was a starter. Like he played
He
the
averaged
two and he
20.
was a
Yeah.
three. He was arguably the best player on that roster. Now, when you look at it, he's coming off the bench. He's not a starter anymore. So realistically, in certain terms, Yegor, maybe in terms of you saying Nolan would be starting and Yegor might come off the bench as the backup point guard. That could be a possibility one day. I'm not saying it will be, but I can see a world
Mhm.
where if Nolan is playing better and he's proving to be the better point guard, they will look at him as okay. It's a battle. It's a Hunger Games. Let's see who's the better
Okay.
Think
point guard
about it.
between the two of
Think
y'all.
about it
And
as
this is,
Halliburton and Nemhard, right?
but
I
this
said
is what
it
I
during the
was.
draft process that Traore reminds me a lot of Nemhard. Yegor has the IQ and vision to be a top tier point guard, but you also don't need to just have a specific player playing point guard. You can have both of them be your facilitators. Indiana does it. Like
True.
San Antonio does
Yeah,
it.
I guess my thinking was, and I'm not saying that I'm trying to get rid of Yegor because that's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is if you end up like, come towards the draft, if you if anybody like, say we have a pick that's top 10 or something and we want to move up and then you offered Yegor because you definitely want um Caleb or someone else, and they're offering whatever you're offering. I'm saying what everything has to be on the table. That's what I'm basically saying. And I mean, because obviously, if you're not draft, if you end up with a if you end up with a what's his name Peterson, it's like, well, now Drake Powell becomes more tradable, right? I mean, not to say that we want to lose all our depth and everything, but I'm saying sometimes you have to look at it as what's their value, what's their future value in the league, and that's what I'm saying. I want I want all the rookies to have great seasons and everything. I
If
want
you
them
land Peterson, why does
to
that
go
make
good.
Powell tradable? Why wouldn't you just do what New Orleans did, where Herb Jones was coming off as like a sixth, seventh man the majority of his
Well,
career?
I'm glad you brought up New Orleans because I'm pretty perplexed by them because I was on Ice's program, and then he had a guy on there from New Orleans, and he was saying in the beginning of the year that those guys were losing to get their coach fired, right? Because they didn't like Willie Green anymore. So he was saying the veterans were doing that. That's why they were losing and everything. But now they have their coach and they're still losing and they still have like because we're very much connected to them because they risked it all, right? They risked for that
So
Derek Queen pick, they risked it all, didn't they? Because
Yeah.
they might lose out on an AJ or Cam Boozer, in the draft because they wanted to get Derek Queen, right? So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to take those kind of chances, and that's what I'm saying. I think they could live with it. The problem is they have to get the albatross of Zion off of their back, you know.
could there be a world where if you don't want to trade Yeager, cool, but can there be a world next year, assuming MPJ is traded, but could there be a world next year where maybe all right, you can't really decide between yes, Nolan can probably be the two, Yeager can probably be the one, but some people want Drake Powell at the two. So it's kind of like a friction there. Maybe can there be a world where you can put Yeager at the three and Nolan at the one, and see
I,
and
I'm
see
su-
how that works?
Go ahead. Well, I'm surprised by, the thing that I don't know if other Nets fans are ready to admit this, but I know the reason that 90% of them wanted Yegor was because they thought he was a point guard. Now he's proven to have some hills in front of him before he can become a point guard. So to me, I'm fine with him being a three. I'm fine with him being a forward who's a connector and who could shoot. Right. I'm fine with that. But the thing is, the problem is that when they're looking at um, these other guys, you have to figure out like Drake Powell. If you play him at the three, that's a disadvantage for Drake Powell. All of his advantages are at the two. All of his physical advantages and everything and athletic advantages are at the two. You don't move him to the three just because he can do it for limited stretches of time. And that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at with these guys.
Where do OKC play Jalen Williams at the three?
Yeah.
The two.
I thought they put Caruso at the two, or is he played the two
I
in?
thought, well, sometimes
Because
Caruso comes off the bench, right?
I'm not saying Drake Powell is Jalen Williams at all, but we've seen six guys at the three. Like it's not abnormal in this NBA. I'm not saying
Yeah,
I
but the
want Powell
difference is,
there,
but
but
but the difference is that Shea is a big guy too. You know what I'm saying? He's 6'6" too. So they have a lot of mid-sized guys who could guard people. And all of them are like outstanding. It's like they have like 5 Drake Powells on their team in terms of defense.
I
So
wouldn't I wouldn't be opposed to Powell at the three though because he has a 7 foot wingspan. So realistically, you
I
talking
would.
about
I
as
would.
also Jalen Williams. So realistically, I'm not saying he should be the three. I like him at the two. But if they were experimenting and seeing where he would fit, I wouldn't. I would see an experiment of Nolan at the one, Drake at the two, and then Yeager at the three, and see how that worked with those three on the court.
All
And
right, guys. I gotta wrap this. I appreciate everybody. I gotta drop off. I gotta wrap this.
Uh-oh, Gary, I can't hear you.
All right. I gotta wrap this. Let LBL know I gotta wrap this.
he wrapping up. LVO.
All right. It's January 3rd,
Gotcha.
2026, from Texas to the world. Thank y'all, and God bless.
Peace out, everybody.